Good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am JMF Trading, and on this channel, I'm going to be sharing my trading journal, my trading system, and EA. All right, so we're going to hop right into today's trading session. All right, do a quick analysis on NAS 100. All right, so as you can see on NAS 100, market has been very bearish, right? And what I'm seeing in this area is the market made a low, a high, a low, a high, and right here we had a break of structure. All right, so what I'm going to do is mark that break of structure and then mark the high. You can see we have some imbalance in this area, but we did reject this area of resistance in between structure. So I'm going to keep a note of that, right? And then notice right here, we have an engulfing candle and a rejection of that 17 EMA. Right now, I trade a very precise strategy, all right? And I use this EA that I created to do it. Now, this EA allows you to open multiple positions at the same price, so we can capitalize on small market moves on the indices. Now, we know NAS moves pretty fast, so what I'm going to look for is around 3 to 500 points guaranteed and possibly leave a runner, all right? Now, I have a trading system that I use as confirmation as well, right? And that is this here. This is called the money in minutes trading system. And basically what I'm seeing here is we're below the sell level on Blueprint. So that's a strong confirmation that XP4 has flipped, and we have a lot of bearish momentum from Forward's predictions. It does say sellers are in control, 70% to buyers at 29%. And all these confirmations help support my bias. You actually see that there's an arrow pointing down right here, letting me know that that analysis could possibly be right based off what I've seen of the market so far. All right. So because I have that engulfing candle, I could get in just like right now. But what I want to do is see if we're going to pull back into that candle. I'm going to go to the 15-minute time frame and kind of see what's going on here. Right. We're very close to an area of demand. And because we're below this low, I kind of want to stay closed below it. All right. I don't want the price to shoot back up. All right, because we could make a high, a low, a high, right? I kind of want to keep this bearish sentiment going. But let's see if we're going to get a spike up into this area, just a small one. If we do, then we can look for a little more of a continuation. And we don't even really need that much because that's well over 500 points. All right. All right. So while we're waiting to see what develops, I'm going to explain this EA to you. So this EA, like I said, it allows you to do multiple positions at the same price. You can do a market execution, a limit order, a stop order. It allows you to close all positions with one click. You can take partials. You can set break even with one click. You can actually reverse your trade if you hit sell but meant to hit buy or vice versa. And you can um, trail your stop loss. So really good EA when you're scalping. All right. So I also trade futures as well. And what I like to do is use the MT4 platform to analyze my chart and then place my trade on futures along with the CFD accounts. All right. So what I'm going to do, because this is a smaller time frame, is I'm going to go ahead and just get in. And if it pulls back, that's fine. All right. And as you can see, we're in multiple positions now. Now, what I can do now is I can adjust my stop loss. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move it just above that engulfing candle. All right. And then what I can do is measure out how many points I want. And I really only want 500, right? So because that just was my first entry, I'm going to move this to this low, right? And then depending on how the market moves, I may enter 4 more positions, right? If we get that pullback at a better price, I'll add a few more positions. Just depends on where I see that momentum, right? I am expecting a little bit of drawdown. If not, we'll take that 500 points from here. But I'm going to add, actually, we'll keep this at 10 because we got 4 positions. And then I'm going to adjust this because this should have been 500. Let's see how this works. Futures as well.
Order filled.
Order filled. All right. And we're going to put our stop above. And then we're in profit. Right. And like I said, we pull back a little bit, I'll add some positions. So, well, we hit that 50% perfectly. Hopefully, once I get enough subscribers, I'll be doing this live on a live stream. So hopefully, if this video gets some likes and some subscribes, I'll be able to do some live trading as well. Right? We're not going to panic when it comes to drawdown, because I said I did expect the market to pull back into that candle, but I don't expect it to close above this engulfing candle. So I'm not worried. I'm actually going to add positions in this area. On this account, um, we have enough to risk. I usually risk around 1,500 per trade, so not worried about that. Right, so The strategy that I trade is very, very simple while we're waiting for this to develop, right? All I'm usually looking for is some form of a trending market, right? An example of that would be this uptrend, right? And what I draw is one specific pattern. I look for a break of structure. I trap price after the break of structure, and then I wait for the market to create liquidity back in between that structure. I'll draw a fib, and then I'll look for an engulfing candle within the fib. Now I want to see a candle that either closes next to a bearish candle with most of the body or more, or an engulfing candle. And sometimes you can see one on lower time frames. And then what I want to see is some form of a rejection of that 15, excuse me, 17 EMA. And then I just enter trades and trade towards the 100. And that's usually my trade. Very, very simple strategy, guys. Right. And then I just do the same thing to the downside. All right. We'll look for lows, highs, and lows, draw that same pattern. It was very, very effective when the market is already trending. We'll look for a pullback in between structure. We'll draw a fib, right? And then as you can see, that pullback is at the 23. And then in this area, I want to see an engulfing candle. Right here, we get that engulfing candle. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3 candles here. So most likely on lower time frames, in this area, we have one. Go to the 15-minute time frame. Right? Now you got to zoom in on it, right? And as you can see, we got these two candles that engulf this one. And that would be enough for me to get into the trade. Stop loss would go above the high. Then we would target at first, take profit at the 100. As you can see, it's a very, very good trade. Now, I don't look for big moves. And the reason why is because I have this EA. And what I've noticed is that if I were to try to catch this whole trade and I was wrong about the analysis long term, I could get stopped out. Now, what I do is I like to go ahead and take the risk early because I'm usually right the first part of the trade. And if I'm wrong, the second part, usually I'm not satisfied with my profit. So I'll either close when I see the market coming back or I'll get stopped out and accept the loss. With this EA, now what I can do is I can get into 4 positions, 10-cent lot size, go for 500, or say I just go for 1,000 points and I entered here. Well, right there, I'm at 1,000 points. So if you take that line, the length of that trade, and then I multiply that times 4, this is how much of the move I've actually caught. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't have to worry about all the pullbacks and manipulation. I can go ahead and collect my money, be done with my day, and then that's the end of my trading session. I usually look to do this 3 times a week on an account. Once I get 3 nice wins, I'm done for the week. All right. So market did look like it pulled back. Didn't give me the bullish candle I was looking for. So we're going to go ahead and get into 4 more positions. All right. Stop loss is still going to go above that engulfing candle. All right. Like I said, we're only risking $1,500. So like I said, the drawdown is not that big of a deal. And then what we'll do is we'll lock in 500 points guaranteed, and then we'll leave a runner, right? So we're in profit now. This is what I love about the EA. If you're someone who uses stop orders or limit orders, this EA is perfect because you can still do multiple positions, right? And this is all before 9 o'clock. We're already up in profit. 9:30, right? what I want to see now is if this is not going to get tagged. See if we can respect this area of resistance. I only really want to go right here. All this strategy, the 1 hour workday, because sometimes you can find an opportunity before the day even gets started, and it's less than an hour of work. You can see the imbalance in this price action. I think there's tons of bullish candles. I may move some of these down. Take two positions in that area as well. Mm-mm-mm. This 17 EMA is something I've been using for a while, and I use it because on the indices, it tracks price really, really well on a 30-minute time frame. So once you have consolidation and a breakout and you start to see a little bit of distance away from the EMA, price tends to keep going. And any engulfing candle you see, you'll notice price never comes back above it after it pulls back slightly into it. And 500 points is just so easy to grab on NAS 100 when you're trending. When you're consolidating, it's kind of all over the place, right? But you'll notice there's really no strong engulfing candles. There's one there, right? But this is the reason why I usually like to see a pullback inside. Because if we get a pullback inside, that candle needs to throw a wick. And you can see right here, it didn't throw a wick. But then right here, we got an engulfing candle. We closed below it, and this one threw a wick. As soon as I see an engulfing candle and a wick, I'm getting in. And this is how fast you can get 500 points. Like that's 500 points right there. So right here, with 6 positions, I make close to 2 to 3 grand, and the market barely has moved. It's the 1 hour workday, guys. Use this strategy during the Asian session as well. Works really well during Asian session. If you trade the Japanese index, usually Japanese index, there's a lot of volatility. So I really like doing this with that particular index as well. If you trade New York and the Asian session. Mm, Candles being stubborn, but it's okay. Now, while we're waiting on this, I'll go ahead and explain how I see the market. All right. This is how I see the market, guys. Right. The market is two patterns, right? what I look for is a break of structure and then the creation of liquidity. Now, if you've heard me say creation of liquidity, it's because I don't look at the chart as just higher highs and higher lows. I look at the chart as taking liquidity, creating it, taking it, creating it, taking it. And when you look at the chart that way, you're actually reading the chart like a language. So what I've noticed is that um, in an uptrend, when price hits these resistance zones against the trend or the market phase, sellers will come into the market. Now, once those sellers come into the market, they create a pool of money to trade towards. And that's what I call the RTP, reason for the market to push. Because after this money has been created, the reason for the market to push is right off of this area of support that has filled some imbalance. Same thing to the downside, break of structure, creation of liquidity, orders being created, and then you have an RTD at the bottom, reason to drop. And these are the two patterns I base my strategy on. Now, the other thing is market phase. All right. The market has um, a market phase that you want to identify before you even think about placing a trade. So we have a bullish push phase. That's when the market breaks structure and continues to climb, right? As you can see, break of structure continues to sell, right? Usually tradable data on a weekly or sometimes daily time frame, or if the market just starts to trend after a strong breakout, then you have creating liquidity against a trend. So we know that the market creates liquidity higher high, higher low against a trend, and then we have the creation of liquidity in an uptrend. We know the market moves lower low, lower high. So the beauty of knowing this is that the two universal patterns that I showed you can be drawn within each market phase. So if I know we're pulling back on a higher time frame, then I know that the market phase is bullish, so I can draw my pattern and look for any opportunity off of that level of support that fails to break below the low. Same exact thing to the downside. I can look for that bearish universal pattern that trades against the overall trend if this is the only tradable opportunity for an intraday or scalp that flows with the momentum of that market phase, right? And then you have the market phase where the market is actually buying towards an RTP in line with the trend, which is the highest probability trade. But even then, I can use the same pattern to get my entry at a good price towards liquidity and the RTP. Same thing to the downside, right? Break of structure in that area. So I can draw the universal patterns within each market phase. And that is how I trade, guys. All right, so let's check and see what's going on here. I think we got caught in a little bit of a pullback. All right. So we're still in a little bit of drawdown. Not going to panic though. Like I said, usually when there's an engulfing candle, that candle does not get pulled back. The only thing that I would be worried about is this wick because it is very, very close to demand, but I think we still have a little bit more room for the market to go. And that is just because of this level right here. All right, you can see how we had a level of resistance imbalance and we rejected that level. So not seeing the market going high, low, high, and then up this way just yet. I kind of think we're going to get a push down before we get that push up. So we're going to stick to this bias. Right? I know there's imbalance up here, but I'm just not seeing the market go up first. Right? We're going to keep checking the momentum. Let's look at the system. Right? And it still says sellers, actually, no. Did buyers take over? No, it still says sellers are in control. We'll start panicking when the buyers start to take over. All right. The higher time frames are still pushing bearish. So let's see what we get. We did have a closure above the moving average, but you'll notice that moving average did not turn and the channel is still pointing down. So that shows us that, bearish sentiment is still involved, but it is getting weak. Right. Really, all we needed that 500 points. What I was worried about was the fair value gap in between here, right? Worried about it just wanting to pull back into that. But if we can just get down here, I'll be happy. Let's check our profit because so we're already up around 1300. Right? Let's see. Because right here is 500 points. That's really all I want. So if I get that with these positions, that'll be great. I should go to break even on this push. But you see the beauty of this EA? We don't have to have a lot of price action. We can still keep good risk to reward and we can capitalize on some fast money. I really thought we were going to get a little bit more push after that candle form, but it's pulling back again. All we got to do is get right here. Right here is where we have that 500 points. And that's the strategy is to just collect 500, right around 500. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take some off the top, take off the first four, and then go to break even. Because if it does pull back from here, then I can either get a better price, or what we can do is we can move our take profit to that 100 and still capitalize. But at this point, you don't want to give any money back to the market. We've been in drawdown 3 times. So what we'll do is we'll adjust our stops, actually keep our stops at break even and then adjust our take profits. And I kind of want to see where we're at the 61.8. No, the 100. No, is that 61.8? Can't see it because that's in the way. Yeah, so that's a 61.8. Let's see if these positions get stopped out. We're going to just keep flowing. And I'm going to look to see where the stop is. All right, so I'm going to adjust this. So these are all the same. Either way, it's stress-free because we've already capitalized on money and we have an opportunity to make a lot more if the market does decide to drop and not pull back into my stop loss. So I like days like this or mornings like this because I'm satisfied and there's not much else to worry about. And it looks like we just got another engulfing candle on 5 minute. So let's see. Mhm. Where the market knows when you've kind of given up. Always tends to want to push once you close some positions or take profit. But what I look for is usually between 500 to 1,000 a day on this size account. $20,000 or more size account, I'm looking for a $3,000 push. If you're trading US 30, four positions at a 10-cent lot size makes you right at $3,000. I really like trading US 30 with this strategy. Um, so, you can really run an account up pretty well if you're very, very strict with your analysis and um, mark up your chart and use the system to confirm. Now let's check to see what the system is saying right now. All right. So as you can see, still says sales are in control. Go to the 30-minute time frame. All right. Now it says sales are in control. 63% to buys are 36. I like to see that because we are on the lower time frames taking this trade. We do have an arrow pointed to the upside, but it's not valid until we break structure. So I'm not really focused on that arrow just yet. It will repaint if we don't get a break of structure. Um, Arrows with the system, once you get a break above a high of the previous move, then the arrow becomes valid. All right. So if you don't get a break of structure and the arrow is there, it's just letting you know that there's possibly going to be an opportunity. Just like you can see here, this arrow became valid the moment price broke structure of this previous move. And as you can see, right here, we had that break of structure. See how we have some bearish candles there? Zoom down on it. Once that broke and we pulled back into an imbalance, see how the moving average is black? Arrow's black. Now it's valid. And then in this area, all we want to see is an engulfing candle, maybe on a lower time frame. We get into that trade, right? Right. And as you can see, we are still well in profit. And daily goal is 1,500 on this particular account. If I risk 1,500, I want to make 1,500. So as you can see, we've already hit that goal with the closure of the first four positions. But I'm going to let this one run. All right, and just see where we're at with it. All right, we're in profit on futures as well. Once I figure out how to show both screens, I will do that. But like I said, this is my first YouTube video. Never thought I'd want to do YouTube. I am pretty protective over my strategy, but I think I'm going to start to enjoy this once I learn the platform a little bit more. I've spent the last 6 years watching everybody else's YouTube video and not making my own. So as you can see, guys, this EA is very, very effective if you're trading CFDs. I'm trying to figure out how to create something like this for futures because I'd love to be able to be in control of the chart with just one click. The Trade platform, um, you really got to be precise with where you move stops and your take profits and stuff like that. But Um, on CFDs, it's so much easier to make the money, right? And having this trading system is the key, right? And like I said, this is just a small scalp. A lot of the times when I see a big opportunity, right, where price action, develop way up here, it's great because I can capitalize on a scalp, leave a runner, and walk away at break even. And you may wake up the next day and you're $3,000 or $4,000 more in profit, and you didn't even have to stress over trying to catch that move. That's what I really love about the system and the EA is the fact that the amount of money you can make in the amount of time, still controlling your risk with just one simple rule. Stop loss always goes above that engulfing candle. It's a game changer, right? Because even in a slow market like right now, we're up, over 1,000. Yet market's not even open yet, right? As we get closer to 9:30, if I see um, that candle getting weak, because at 9:30 market likes to reverse, I may end up just closing it and then seeing what type of opportunities the market gives us after 9:30. But right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I want to see it get to around 1,500 because then I can close a couple more positions and that gets me to my daily goal. Trying to get a push now. Playing around. So we're getting close to 9:30. It's either going to push that candle down or it's going to suck it back up. So I can kind of tell the market is getting ready to open. depending on where we're at, if I see 1500, I might just close it and then see what we're going to get after 9:30. I just hate to close it and then that 9:30 pushes price in the direction I want it to, but a lot of times we get a reversal. So if we haven't hit take profit before 9:30, usually close that position. I'm just going to take these off, still stay at break even, and then see what the market gives us at 9:30. Right? Probably going to regret that, but like I said, we want to protect our money. We've already hit our profit target for the day on this trade. So what I'm going to be looking at is if we do continue to get that push, closure below this, and then I could add positions if we start to respect this as resistance as well. So what we can get is a move down, move up, and then this could just tank some more. Let's look at it on a 4-hour time frame. That candle is looking strong, but any type of pullback right now, it's either going to give me a better price to get in for sales, or it could just break above and then, hit that imbalance area that we see in this area. Market open, it could just, so let's see what we get. But we've already made money. I'm satisfied. Right. Right. I'm actually going to close that trade on TradeAvate just because this account is small. And then we'll wait and see what the market gives us at market open. Because I see a bullish candle forming, but it's forming outside of an engulfing candle. So it may just give us a better price. With that 15-minute time frame, at least on futures, it's showing a bullish candle. And as you can see, we have a bullish candle there. The beauty is it is still engulfing, right? So let's see if we stay below it. All right. And clean this up, get back to a clean chart. All right, so right here is so right here we have an imbalance as well. But this area, I don't know if it's retesting this zone. Let's see. It's not really retesting that area of support, excuse me, or resistance. But I kind of had a funny feeling I was going to be mad at close those positions. But let's see. Should have gotten ES. ES dropped too. Square, let's see. There's still going to be an opportunity on ES. And you see how that's pulling back. I'm even at break even. Am I break even? Yeah, I am now. Mhm. Right, so this stops me out. I'm not going to be worried. Mm, Probably not going to stop me out though. Probably gonna be mad I close those positions. Either way, we're still going to be able to capitalize on quite a bit. If I would have taken this trade after 9:30, then I would have no problem. I would have held those positions. But 9:30 market open manipulation always scares me. Like you'll see clear movement to the downside, and all of a sudden you get this weird candle that just forms and pushes price up. So not gonna get caught up in that, not being at break even, already being in a trade. But this is how I manage. This can still end up being a $3,000 day because if this runs from here to here, that's gonna still be some money. So I ain't gonna be mad at it. Mm-mm. So we got 7 minutes. Look at the news because I didn't even look at news today. These are all news events that I don't like. Building permits. It's all low impact. I think if something's going to hold price up, it's going to be that 10 a.m. news. I think after 10 a.m., we should get some movement. And I honestly think it's going to stay bearish. Right. Now, one downfall to this EA and strategy is that it's going to want to make it's going to want to make you take every opportunity you see. And my suggestion with this EA and strategy is to maybe do at the most two opportunities a day. All right, don't get greedy with it. Because you could turn a winning day into a losing day real fast, especially on a day where FOMC is in the news, whether that be red folder or yellow folder. FOMC news will chop you up. Now, what I'm learning about those news events is to literally just stay away from them. And then with this 17 EA, if the market is choppy, you're going to actually see this moving average running straight through price. And you don't want to trade in those conditions. You want to see the market start to trend. And the beauty of it is I used to get FOMO when the market started to trend, and that would make me think I'm just missing the move. But now that I can navigate how the market is going to move while it's trending, I don't, stress about that. All right, so as you can see right now, we're starting to pull back a little bit, right? So this is what I was a little bit worried about was the market pulling back on me while I had those other positions. Don't want to give money back to the market, especially if I've already hit goal for the day. So, this is just extra, you know, and I can still use what I've already earned as earned equity and get back into another trade and just risk a small portion of that 1,500 plus of my already confirmed profit. So not going to worry about this pullback, right? Either way, it's a successful day, and you guys got to see how this EA works. All right, let's look at trade of eight. Hmm. Oh, look at that. He didn't get stopped out. Look at that. Look at that. He's not yet anyway. It's not 9:30 yet, but 5 minute. It did spike up though into that imbalance. Looking at it on the 5 minute, right? So you can see how it's kind of playing around right there. And then right here, you have all this imbalance. That's the nearest high. So it's crazy because you have that high, low, break of structure, pullback. And this is why I call this a universal pattern, because if this drops below here is RTD, and this is your trend. All right, so let's see if we stay within this area, because if so, this market will drop from right there and we won't get any strong pushes. We'll get a drop. Let's see, we got 1 minute. I'm already seeing bearish momentum. Mm-mm-mm. 1 minute to go. Let's see. It could just suck up and stop you out. Right now, the momentum is on our side. Oh, there it is. And that's what I was looking at was that. See how that always happens at market open. All right, so it stopped out. No, didn't stop me out yet. Mm-mm. All right, so we're stopped out there. All right, let's see how the market's going to react in this area. Right? It's possibly going to push up into this zone, right? And now you can see why I closed those positions, but still gave it a chance. Still gave it a chance. And then we can look at the higher time frames and just kind of see because we still have this pattern and we have this higher time frame fair value gap. So, right. So let's look at the 30-minute. Right. So in order for the market to buy, we have to clear all of this. So we can't buy until price breaks above the high, right? And even then, we still would want to see some more data. We need a whole break of structure. So remember what I said, right? This area right here is very, very close to this area of demand, right? We pretty much came all the way down here. So I was expecting bullish momentum anyway, but how much of it, right? Because now what it boils down to is, are we going to stay within this pattern here, right? It doesn't take much for the market to make that decision. This would be RTD, right? And off of this resistance, we know the market moves lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And like you said, there's an imbalance here. So we clear this, but fail to break this, we could get a drop from here, right? If we don't clear this, we get a drop from here. And as you can see, it's already getting weak. Let's look at the 1 minute. Right, so right here, I can draw a fib, right? That candle's engulfing. So that is telling me that we could drop. I'm getting in.
Order filled.
Just like that, we're back into trade. Once you have that engulfing candle, it's easy money. Easy money. I'm already going to break even. Then we can just watch this melt. All right, we've already doubled our goal. Go ahead and take some positions off and then leave a runner. This is the beauty of this strategy, guys, is the fact that all I'm doing is trading the pattern I showed you. And then once I draw that pattern, I look for the engulfing candle. And, you know, it's usually always there. All right. So we just took out RTD right there. See the rejection? Just took out RTD. Now what I'm going to do is trail this so we don't lose any positions. We'll lose that position. We're just going to keep trailing. We're going to trail this on Tradeovate as well. There's my stop. Once we take out RTD, usually the market takes off, but we'll see. It may pull back on us again, but that's okay. We're already profited. Hmm. I'm going to close.
Stop filled.
All right. And we are done. Pretty sure this is going to drop some more. I'm going to switch accounts, and if we get that closure below, then all right, let's clean this up a little bit. I think we're going to get like a death drop. I think that's going to confirm where we're going. They probably should go to ST2, ST3. So that's going to do it for my video today. All right, I'm going to actually switch accounts and then look to get into this trade long term. I may post a video on that, but wanted to show you how I scalp the market with the Money in Minutes EA, the MIM EA. It's a game changer when you're trading CFDs. And as you can see, we just made well over 3K in a little less than an hour. All right, guys, have a good one. Oh, like, comment, and subscribe, guys.